Welcome to This Explainer. If you've been following the Govern Global AI adoption story with us, we've seen it all, right? The isolated tests, the strategic debates, the messy deployments. Well, today is the ultimate culmination of all of that. We're finally bringing all 5 architectural modules together into one cohesive picture. We're going to look at the complete layered architecture that Govern Global built to transition away from those random, chaotic AI experiments into a fully governed, enterprise-grade AI powerhouse. This is really where the theory meets reality. It's where we get to see exactly how Microsoft's advanced agentic AI business solutions are actually orchestrated at scale. So, let's get right into it.
Okay, I absolutely love this statement from Bingo. He delivered this directly to the Govern Global board, and honestly, it's the anchor for everything we are going to explore today. This is not a technology project, this is an architecture. Because treating AI like an enterprise architecture rather than just some isolated IT experiment changes absolutely everything. Think about it. A product is just something you buy and plug in. But an architecture, that is a structural foundation. It dictates how your business operates, how it scales, and most importantly, how it protects itself. Bingo is making it crystal clear to the board here. They aren't just buying bots. They are literally rewiring the nervous system of the entire enterprise.
To really visualize this transformation, it helps to think of it like building a skyscraper. We're going to break this down into 6 parts today. First, the blueprint for strategy. Second, the plumbing for data. Third, the workforce of agents. Fourth, the offices for copilots. Fifth, structural security. And finally, the big boardroom sign-off.
All right, let's start with part 1, the blueprint, which is our strategy. Before a single piece of code is written, you absolutely need a strategic foundation. A bad blueprint just means the project is going to collapse under out-of-control costs or, even worse, compliance failures. So how does Govern Global actually survive reality? They do it through a highly disciplined 3-stage center of excellence. Think of this COE like a strict architectural review board. They maintain a ruthlessly prioritized backlog, ensuring that they are only building what the business actually needs. And this is the kicker. Every single deployment is tied to quarterly return on AI, or ROAI measurements. If an agent isn't delivering measurable value, it gets reevaluated, period. This blueprint ensures that AI is treated as a true investment, not just a black hole for the IT budget.
Moving right along to part 2, the plumbing, or the data architecture.
So if the strategy is our blueprint, this layer is the crucial plumbing. Because let's be real, incredibly smart AI fed by bad, siloed, or unsecured data is a massive liability. It's just a faster way to make bad decisions. Notice how Govern Global brilliantly separates the duties here. Dataverse acts as the single source of truth. It is the absolute transactional core of the business. Then, Azure AI Search takes on the role of distributed knowledge, safely indexing and retrieving all that unstructured data so the agents can actually read and understand it. Meanwhile, you have endorsed Power BI models providing top-tier executive intelligence. And underneath this whole operation, cross-region data movement is properly and legally configured. It is a highly regulated reservoir, for sure. Definitely not a data swamp.
Next up is part 3, the workforce. This is where we introduce the agent platform. Now that we have the plumbing securely in place and the data is flowing correctly, we can safely introduce our workforce, these dynamic, agentic designs. By strictly defining the correct language models and structured orchestration patterns, Govern Global ensures that agents never surprise the enterprise. Because in architecture, unpredictability is your worst enemy. They use very clear topic architectures to constrain conversations and keep the agents on track. And for those stubborn legacy systems we all have that lack modern APIs, they leverage computer use capabilities to integrate seamlessly. Plus, they use the Model Context Protocol, MCP, for extensible secure tool access. It's basically a perfectly constrained, highly capable workforce.
Which brings us to part 4, the offices. Let's talk about copilots.
Just as our skyscraper has specialized offices for different departments, this architecture deploys tailored copilot capabilities for distinct enterprise practices. We aren't just giving everyone across the company a generic empty chat box. No way. We are embedding intelligence natively into the context of their actual daily work. Dynamics 365 Copilot capabilities are strategically injected exactly where they add the most value. In sales, it's summarizing opportunities. In field service, it's out there giving technicians on-site diagnostic insights. Finance, supply chain, the contact center, each team gets an AI assistant integrated directly into their existing screens. It's seamless adoption by design. You don't even have to train people to go to a new app. It's just there, helping them work better. All right, part 5, structural security, specifically ALM governance.
This right here is the invisible governance that holds our entire skyscraper together. Application Lifecycle Management, or ALM. Without this specific layer, everything we've talked about so far would just degrade into total chaos. The absolute backbone of this system is a hard rule. Production changes are impossible without governance. Let me say that again. Impossible. You literally cannot do it. This single rule effectively ends the era of shadow AI deployments. No one is spinning up a rogue model on a Friday afternoon and pushing it to production. The pipelines are entirely, fundamentally locked down.
And here is exactly how they enforce that lockdown. Microsoft Purview is configured to continuously monitor absolutely everything that touches data. Sensitivity labels, they are strictly enforced across all documents, which structurally guarantees compliance long before a model ever goes live. Then you add in mandatory quarterly responsible AI assessments, and what you get is an ecosystem that actively polices itself. It is security by design, not something bolted on as an afterthought when an auditor comes knocking.
And finally, Part 6, the boardroom sign-off.
We've reached the penthouse, the boardroom. This is the culminating moment. The architecture has to structurally answer every single fear and tension that was introduced at the very start of this program. Let's go around the table and look at where everyone landed. Anir, the lead architect, is totally satisfied because the architectural integrity is rock solid. No messy spaghetti integrations anywhere. Supra, who handles compliance, has a system where she physically signs off on every single deployment. And Goggle, representing IT operations, finally has full visibility because an ITSM record is automatically generated for every single incident and change. All that early panic, it's been officially replaced by structural control.
Moving down the table, Bingo successfully defends his ROI credibility to the board, completely backed up by those strict quarterly COE measurements we talked about. Avi is hitting every single sequence delivery milestone perfectly because stakeholders sign off before the next phase even begins. And Neon, you remember Neon, right? The eager developer who used to cause those shadow IT headaches? Well, Neon is now happily shipping the next 4 agents directly inside the governed pipeline. Why? Because the pipeline actually makes the job easier and far, far safer.
Finishing up with our deeply technical leaders, Sood has strict deployment rules anchored by a really robust prompt testing framework that he built himself. Nanaji controls all data endpoints through the API gateway, so zero unauthorized data scraping is happening on his watch. And Kudub, the solution architect, knows exactly when Copilot Studio solves the problem natively and exactly when to escalate to a custom code-first Azure architecture. Every single stakeholder around this table has what they completely lacked at the start: absolute certainty.
But you know, the true power of what Govern Global achieved here is that the architecture is not finished. It's not a static product, it's a living, breathing entity. And because this shared understanding is made structural, their AI program is going to safely grow. Every new agent they add doesn't just create a pile of technical debt, it actually compounds the value of the entire platform, because it's leveraging the exact same secure plumbing and ALM pipelines that we just toured.
As you reflect on this explainer and the complete, layered architecture that Govern Global built across all these modules, ask yourself what kind of foundation you are laying for your own enterprise right now. Govern Global proved that a true AI architecture is not a product, it is a shared understanding made structural. So the ultimate takeaway for you today is this: will your AI program grow on a foundation that governance continuously reinforce, or are you building on one that governance will eventually break? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and start building your foundation today.